The next stage, once you have completed your daubing, is to paint your objects in a flat colour. The oranges and the fruit, or the apples at the front, should be painted yellow. Keep those natural. But the objects, they can be painted any colour. I've gone quite wine bottle coloured. Now, just a tip, if you have gone over into your shape, then you can just move the paint around a bit. And because it's watercolour, it should just come up a little bit and just blend in. Okay, so now we are ready to start our blending. Now, when you're putting the darker tone on, it should be the same darker side as your daubing. Now, this is blending, and you don't need to, please don't use a massive brush. I've just mixed a little bit of blue in with the green, and then I am blending the two colours together. Now, to get a proper blend, you take all the colour off your brush and you blend back with nothing on your brush at all. Okay, now there's too much on my brush there. I'm going to blend back. Okay, and then keep adding the tones and keep going. Now, as you move over, you can add some white as you get to this side to lighten, but make sure it's definitely darker on this side. Now, just a tip, if you've got white bits on this side, just move the paint around because it's watercolor and get rid of any white bits. Now, I'm going to go close up and I'm going to show you how to make it look as though on the ellipse, how it looks open. So on the ellipse here, I'm painting the other side, okay, and I've got a little line there. Then I'm going to blend back. It's very, very subtle, and blend back with nothing. So it's darker here on this side and it's darker this side, and it will give you the impression of an open bottle. I need to add some more dark to that. Now, all the blending has been done, so it's dark to light, dark to light, dark to light. Now we're going to move on to the fruit. Now, you have done this before, but I'm just going to recap where you're using your brush. Now, you're not daubing, you are using your brush in a vertical position to go round, and make sure you put the darker tone going around. Take off, blend back, keep adding different colours. It's an apple or orange depending on what you're doing. Maybe leave a little bit of the yellow. I'm taking that off. There's nothing on my brush. I'm blending back. Okay, now it's too much on my brush now. Take it off, blend back. So you're left with a little bit of the warmth of the yellow. Now I'm going to go a little bit darker on this side. Okay, and then because that's where the darker tone is, and then remember to do the little bit where the stalk comes out. Too much paint on my brush, nothing now, and I'm going to blend out, okay, with a tiny little stalk coming through. Now I think that needs to go a little bit darker, so I'm going to add more blue on this side to make it purplier, and then some streaks like an apple would. Okay, and then blend back. So you've got daubing and you've got blending. Now, some of these can be oranges if you wanted to. You could add a little bit of green where because apples have different shades. Okay, and then once you've done that, the last thing to do is to put the tone on the shade. Now we are nearly done. I've just added more dark tones to this one because it went too light, so you can keep adding and adding. Now, to make a sense of place, I'm using a purple to do the shadows. Now you need to have the shadows being parallel to the edge of the page. Don't have the shadows going in a different direction. They need to be, I'm just putting them on. Now that will be quite dark over here because it's the bottles and everything's casting a shadow. I think I'll go a bit blacker, a bit darker. Now I'm going to go back and I am going to blend a little bit with nothing on my brush. Okay, that's quite dark over there. And that will be, that's causing a shadow because of the apple. That'll be much darker there in between because it's causing a shadow. Now, taking everything off my brush and blending back. Nothing on my brush and blending out a bit. Okay, so don't have loads and loads of paint on your brush. It will cause problems and you'll get out of hand and everything will look messy. So keep it almost hardly anything on your brush at all to create the shadows. Okay, and I think we are just about done. I think that is creating a shadow because of the cup there, and I'm trying to get rid of any white bits. If you've got any white bits on there, I think I'll give it a bit of texture. Dry brush to go that way. And now I'm just adding a little bit more darker tone, maybe a little bit. There's a bit of white there, so I will move that, and I think we are just about done. The very last thing you can do, colour pencil. You can go on top and you can use your colour pencil to add some lighter tones, darker tones, some detail if you wanted to. Oops. Just blend in, and sometimes you can't get the paint. I'm just going to use the darker blue. I've just painted that, so it might be, that's it. I can go a little bit darker, I can get more detail on there, and I can use the white to just add just a little bit of highlight. Because it's a bottle, it will have some highlights, and especially here where it goes around and where the light is shining on it. So I'm using the colour pencils to just add tiny little bits of detail and tone. And on your apples or oranges, you can add a little bit more of texture to give the impression that it's an orange, because that's quite hard to do with paint. And you can just keep going and going with that. So just think about where you would want different shades, say little bits of lines with the apple. So I'm adding a bit more green with lines, and it just gives it that sharpness. Okay, now I think we are definitely done now.